Welcome to Home of Leaders. Thousands of Trump fans flocked to CPAC, many of them issuing dire warnings about what would happen if their candidate did not win in November. Donald Trump supporters warned that if the former president lost this year's election, a civil war would break out in America. Sorry for interrupting. Before we continue, if you're new to our channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more updates. Thank you. This weekend, Trump aims to solidify his position as the Republican nominee by seeking victory in the South Carolina primary, the home state of his only remaining opponent, Nikki Haley. He will speak Saturday night at CPAC in Washington, the largest pro-Trump conference in the United States. The convention attracted thousands of Donald Trump fans, many of whom issued dire warnings about what would happen if their candidate did not win in November. "I think if we're in 2020, there will likely be a civil war. Or some kind of revolution," Karina Hunt from Texas told the Mirror. "If they try again and succeed in rigging the results, I think people will be so woke that they can't stand it and there will be a revolution. Just like we did to all of you in the 18th century. Polls show Mr. Trump leading Ms. Haley by 30 points entering today's primary SAT test in South Carolina. Ms. Haley vowed to continue the race until the last person votes. South Carolina will vote on Saturday. "But I will still run for president on Sunday. I'm not going anywhere," she said. While most expect Trump to win the nomination, some Republicans fear ongoing legal battles will prevent him from defeating Joe Biden in November. Suzanne Monk, an activist advocate on behalf of those jailed for their roles in the violent Capitol insurrection on January 6, 2021, said another Trump defeat would cause chaos. Chaos. "In fact, there is a lot of evidence that there is a lot of voter fraud," she said. "I think the American people will really understand that we no longer have the ability to hold elections, and I don't know how America will react to this, but it will lead us to a constitutional crisis. We are headed for a revolution," added Margaret Cockman of Long Island, New York. "This is where we are headed. Did they take up arms? They have already armed themselves." Margaret's husband Matthew said, "It's a very sad situation. The police have no protection, right? The police's hands are tied. The military has woken up," Cockman added. In addition to the usual members of Congress, senators and American politicians, this year's conference is even more British. On Thursday, Liz Truss gave a speech to a half-empty room, calling Joe Biden weak and fully endorsing a second Trump term. Trump stalwart Nigel Farage is expected to take the stage on Friday. Although few attendees had heard of Rishi Sunak or even Liz Truss, who spoke at Thursday's conference, the former Brexit Party leader has an official fan club at CPAC. "We love Nigel," Mrs. Monk said. "I'm actually friends with Nigel." "Correct. I just smoked with him." When asked if he would make a good prime minister, she replied, maybe. I want to see him less often. Safety in smoking rooms would be a little better." Hunt said Farage should 100% become British Prime Minister. "I cannot vote. However, I think that in his heart he cared about the interests of the British people, not his own. I think he's really a conservative. I really like him," Ms. Cockman said. "He has good manners. I like his British accent and he seems calm. He likes America," said Dixie Ferguson from Washington State. "I love Nigel. He seems to talk like an American. The way he thinks." Pedro Israel Orta, a writer from Florida who saw Liz Truss speak yesterday, said she should be given a second chance to become Prime Minister. "Absolutely. I consider her a modern-day Margaret Thatcher," he said. In her speech at CPAC, Ms. Truss complained that her failed tenure as Prime Minister had been marred by a backlash from the media, the corporate world and from those who are supposed to be doing work for the government. In a column on the Fox News website, she blamed the so-called deep state for sabotaging her 49-day stay in Downing Street. "There is no doubt that we have people who are acting against the best interests of the people," Monk said. "He's not wrong in saying that. And if he says so, then maybe he is the person you want in your position." Jared Taylor from Northern Virginia said he liked Ms. Truss's speech but added, "What about keeping Britain white? It will help. She didn't say it, but she should have said it. Do you think Muslims and Africans care about the West? Or about Runnymede? Or about 1066? They take care of the flyers."